Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy. Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, greetings.
Yes, here we are at the lovely Hop Grenade in downtown Concord, California.
It is indescribable.
No longer in Martinez.
I think it's literally indescribable for Palmer. He's never been here.
Right. When you're missing out. Yeah, his flight, his plane got grounded.
There was a landing gear light that wouldn't, a warning light that wouldn't go out. So they had to stop, and
you didn't go up and like tap on it for him. Go, there you go.
I tried to run out on the tarmac and access the plane, but they grabbed me, tackled me, and so on.
All right. So I was on a flight in Honduras going to Roatan back in like 1990 or something like that, and we're sitting in the Britain Island Normander. And I'm sitting there with my luggage on my lap, and my wife's sitting in the front, in the co-pilot seat. They've jammed this thing full of everything to make the jump over from Honduras to Roatan. And we're sitting there on the runway. Guys, nothing's happening. Pilot's looking out over at the tower. Nothing's happening. He's like, looks. He's sitting there. He taps on his radio. He just like bangs on it. Looks out the window. Finally goes, huh? Just hits the accelerator, takes off. He's like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it. I'm going. I'm like, great. I'm glad no other plane was coming. But I thought the tapping on the radio, this digital radio, I thought it was great. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Is this thing on?
Right. And you see that in movies too. There'd be like some digital gauge, and the pilot, there's some issue, and then he taps on this fuel gauge, which is like, it's LCD, and he's like banging on the thing, thinking he's going to get like different numbers or something.
Yeah.
Like the needle is stuck. What kind of old timey stuff is that?
Right. It's not like the Millennium Falcon where you got to weld something to make it go.
Right. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of welding and making things go, how about our fine sponsor, Blickman Engineering, huh?
Indeed, yes.
If anybody could weld something and make it go, I would bet it is our good friend, John Blickman.
That is true. Yep, he's always thinking of something new and thinking of a way to innovate.
Right, whether it be your British Island Normander or the Millennium Falcon, he can do it. Check it out. They got a lot of good information on their website, blickmanengineering.com. Blickman with two N's, engineering with an E and a G, and .com. And check them out. They got lots of goodies there. If you go to the Homebrewers Conference, they're always there and revealing new goodies. They're opening the kimono there every time they're there. Well, at least John is. You catch him alone in his hotel room. Opening the kimono.
Or downstairs at breakfast.
Right. John, close your kimono. Jesus Christ. There's children around here. Oh, yeah. No, that didn't happen.
No.
In my dreams, yes. Absolutely. No, but check them out. Fine sponsors. They're paying for the show, so you don't have to. So make sure you send them a kind word if you can, and check their website out. This show, we decided that we were actually going to taste somebody's beer.
A little different today, yeah.
Yeah. We were thinking, we talk about all this our good friend Eddie Bausch was wondering about attenuation in his beers. He's like, this one's working out, this one's not. I expected this kind of attenuation. And normally what we do from a question like that is we'd just do a show on attenuation, and we would talk about it.
All the different
factors and theories and all that stuff. Instead, what we're going to... And we probably have already done a show on attenuation.
I'm sure we have, yeah.
All right. Done a show on just about everything at this point. Instead, what we're going to do is taste the beers. And this is why it's a real shame that your flight was canceled. Because I'm going to taste the beers, Scott's going to taste the beers, and then we are going to talk about the possible reasons for a lack of attenuation, over attenuation, what might be. And Eddie was good enough to also send us his recipes, so we'll check all that out.
And I think what makes this maybe not unique, but worthy of an entire show, is that I believe he's having this problem across all his beers. And let's punch him up here. Correct me, is that wrong, Eddie, or are you all beers or just some?
That's pretty much on target. All of my beers finish a few points higher than I'd like them to.
Interesting. Okay.
So describe your process real quick so we can know what you're doing.
Okay.
It's brewing beer.
I have an electric... Right, that's what it's all about, isn't it? So, anyhow, I've got an electric Herms that's got like computer temperature control and all that, so it's not me sitting there with a thermometer. It's a 3-kegel system. I have a chest freezer that I use as a fermentation chamber that's got a temperature controller on it. The probe... What I used to do is I used to just let the probe dangle in about the middle of the freezer. Since then, more recently I've started taping the probe to the side of the carboy with some insulation on the outside of it to try and keep a more accurate temperature on the temperature of my beer, not the temperature of the fridge that it's in. I use yeast nutrient. Usually it's Y-yeast nutrient. Most of my batches are 10-gallon batches, and I also oxygenate. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a medical oxygen with the flow meter on it, but I do have a welding tank that's got a regulator on it, so I'm not really sure how many liters a minute I'm pushing into the beer, but I'm sending it through a standard stone, usually for about 2 minutes per 5-gallon carboy.
Okay,
does that cover what I need to cover, or
it's all meaningless at this point because really we need to taste the beers, and then that'll give us an idea. My question would be, where do you think the issue is?
Well, I'll tell you what, in preparation for this show, I started going through a lot of my recipes and getting the apparent attenuation on them and comparing it to what it's supposed to be and comparing it to the recipes. And I harvest my yeast and I reuse it. Mm-hmm. And I'm almost sure I've been over-pitching by quite a bit. And after reading through the yeast book and doing some more research on that and having a better understanding, I think that's where a lot of my problems are coming through, because it seems every time I repitch, they get a little bit worse. And what my process is I'd take a half-gallon growler and I'd collect the yeast from a 5-gallon batch in that half-gallon growler, and I'd usually have about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of yeast on the bottom of it once it all settled out, and I'd pitch that into my next 10-gallon batch.
That is, it's very hard to say for sure, but that may not be over pitching. Yeah. It could be the way that you're harvesting. You could be selecting the earlier yeast each time, the one that drops out first, and your other parts of your process could be resulting in some dusty yeast early on, and then you're selecting. If you notice more cloudy beer early and it's taking longer to clear, and later on the beers don't have that cloudiness later on, then you could be selecting for the most attenuative yeast or the most flocculent yeast, and they could be less attenuative. That's a possibility as well. If you do overpitch, too much yeast, the fermentation can run, pretty quick, and then it really doesn't finish up. It ends up, too much competition, and the yeast just kind of drop out, and you end up with. But usually that's accompanied with other flavors, green apple flavors, things like that. That's why it's important to taste the beer. But I was curious, and I really have been. I was taking notes while you were describing your process and going through the your description where you thought the problem was. But I always find it interesting where people feel the problem could be, because sometimes it's got nothing to do with what could possibly be the problem. But I think you might be onto something. My other question would be. What recipes are you referring to? Where are these recipes coming from? You say, it's not matching the attenuation. Are these recipes that you're getting from an ultra reliable source like Brewing Classic Styles?
I think they are. I really think they are, Jamil. I got them from a book called Brewing Classic Styles.
Damn! You got to throw that in my face.
Source right there has improved my brewing quite a bit because it's like you said, it's a reliable source of good recipes. Garbage in, garbage out, and at least if I'm starting with something good, I got a better chance of it coming out the other side.
And that's one of the reasons I think Brewing Classic Styles is actually a decent book, is because it's one. The brewer set of data, or it's a consistent thing, and that it should work out well, and if it's not, then there's some other issue. And then finally, what besides the numbers makes you feel that they are not attenuating enough? Do you taste this?
I don't know if it's a taste issue, but when I compare my homebrew to commercial beers. Mm-hmm. I think the commercial beers are more drinkable. I seem to get a little less aftertaste out of them. Mm-hmm. And they tend to have a lighter body and maybe a little bit thinner mouthfeel. And once upon a time, I thought that made my beer better than theirs. Mm-hmm. But I really don't feel that way anymore. I think if I could just knock a few more points off, I think I'd be happier with my product.
Interesting. Okay. Very good. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. Or maybe a long break. I don't know. I want to get the beers poured if we could, and then I want to taste them, and that'll give at least Scott and I a lot more information on what the potential issue could be.
Is Mike Mraz still around?
No, he has gone to see the drag races.
Ah, okay. It would have been useful to have the studio in my absence. Yes.
By the way, the drag races is a restaurant in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. No. I figured that was some Northern California thing.
A euphemism for something else, yes. All right.
See.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll be tasting some of Eddie's beers and talking more with him about attenuation right after this.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blitzmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
But, Doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry. And to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're checking out some of Eddie's beers here. We've got a stout, a dry stout, a pilsner, a brown, an American Pale Ale, and a Flanders Red. So quite a range of beers. Which one, Eddie, finished the highest? The one that you think is failed to attenuate the worst?
The stout.
Stout. And in your notes, I saw some concerns about... this is the one you thought was off, but you used the classic 70-20-10.
Right.
I don't see the recipe for the stout. Is Scott, did you send that, or?
It's a note.
I did, yeah.
There we go. Yes, now I see that, but I sent stuff in an email.
Yeah, I see it now.
I'm breathing into the mic, John. Can you at least get some aroma there?
Yeah, no, not really. It's pretty weak.
Boy, I'd be surprised if the final gravity on this was 1016 right now.
You think it's higher than that?
Do we have a hydrometer and a degas sample to take a gravity reading? I think it's less.
I think it's lower.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like a 4 Plato beer to me.
Does it taste dry to you, Jamil?
Very dry.
Okay.
Highly carbonated, too. Okay. So it may have attenuated more in the bottle. Because this is quite gassy.
Well, does it have any of that gusser infection kind of taste? Nope. Wild yeast taste?
Nope.
Okay.
It's on 8 psi in my kegerator.
At what temperature?
Oh, I keep it pretty cold right now. It's probably at about 34, 35 degrees.
Yeah, that should be still about right. It's higher gas than that. It seems, I shook some out of it, but it seemed like it could be close to 3 volumes. I wonder if it did not attenuate further in the bottle.
How long have these been in the bottle?
Well, I keg, and they've been in the bottle for maybe a week.
Okay.
Are you, Eddie? Are you relying more on your equipment or your Are you? I'm hearing Jamil say trust your taste buds a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes your stuff isn't accurate, but your taste buds will. You might be trusting your hygrometer over your taste buds. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Yeah,
are you doing that?
My hydrometer is what's really causing me the concern.
And you've checked it, right?
I think that, yeah, I did, and it was showing 1 point high in room temperature tap water.
And you eliminate that and say, okay, so my reading's 1 point lower than what I see.
I think this is a really good stout. This is really enjoyable.
It's dry and, it's pretty light body, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But does it seem quite carbonated?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Like more carbonation than you would expect.
Yeah,
dry stout.
absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if that one did. If maybe I put it in the keg before it was quite done or something, and then it was en route to you guys, it would have warmed up some.
How long did you keep it in the carboy before transferring to the keg, chilling and transferring to the keg? How long do you keep it at fermentation temperature? Yeah, let's go through your fermentation profile.
Okay. I like to start out kind of low, around 63, 64 degrees when I pitch the yeast. I typically keep my chamber set at 65 degrees until I see a krausen form. Once that happens, I usually kick it up a few more degrees, and then I try and have it finish around 70, 72 degrees by the time it all peters out. And I typically brew every 10 to 12 days.
Mm-hmm. And you leave it at...
That's usually about how long they're in the carboy.
So you leave it at 70 to 72 for 10 to 12 days. At the end.
No, I wouldn't say that.
You start out... At the end, it's been a total of 10 to 12 days, and it's probably been 3 or 4 days up at 70 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. Boy, yeah, I would think that's, more than adequate. Generally, I would, things are done fermenting in 5 days, and I'd leave them in, 7 to 10 days, and just, it would be whenever it was convenient for my next thing.
That's kind of the way I am.
Yeah, it kind of allows it to clean up, and a little, if there's any more attenuation to be had, that's when it's had. Interesting. Okay. And then you mentioned kind of a soapiness on this one? Yeah.
I think it's probably from the roasted grains. I used a mix of roasted grains. About half of it was roasted barley, and then the other half was a couple of different brands of chocolate malt and just a pinch of black patent.
Right. Yeah, I think it's, it's that, and, the flake barley kind of can add, a certain character to it as well. Yeah, I don't really, I don't think that anything's really off in that one.
So you don't get any soapy character in that one, Jamil?
Not really. There's kind of a, it's that character from the chocolate malts and from the flake barley. It's a very common flavor profile in dry stout.
What's your brewing water like?
I'm reading this other book called Water right now, so that's something that I'm tackling right now. I'm low on calcium. I'm about 23 parts per million calcium. My water has a very high pH. When I check it, it's usually between 9 and 9.3. The hardness is 71, is CaCO3.
Yeah. Which is low, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anything about the alkalinity?
Hold on. You know what? Well, I had my water report in your book. Here it is. Alkalinity is, you know what? I told you backwards. My alkalinity is CaCO3 is 71. My hardness is 144.
Okay. Not bad. So you probably got about 40 calcium, 15 magnesium, and 70 alkalinity. So that's, yeah, all things considered, that's pretty soft. Okay.
Jamil is busy tasting through the flight here.
Okay.
I tell you, all of these seem quite carbonated to me, except for the Flanders.
Were you expecting them to not be?
Well, he's forced carbonating them, so it could be anything, but
the Flanders I thought was fine. I thought you guys just might like the sour. I know Justin's a big fan of them.
Yeah, based on what you're telling me on your carbonation, though, I would not expect this amount of carbonation in these beers.
Now, the other beers,
is the Flanders,
I keep up around 10 psi.
Okay. Is the Flanders carbonated the same way?
Yeah.
Because the Flanders is much lower carbonation than these others.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Which would make me think that these hadn't attenuated out fully before they were shipped. And, shaking them up and, shipping them warm, that really, especially as hot as it's been lately, that could finish them out. Because these are all like 3 volumes plus. I mean, the Flanders is down around what I would expect from like 8 psi.
Well, the Flanders, those are on 10. It's just I don't pressurize the stouts quite as much. I think they're a little creamier that way. I enjoy them not being quite so spritzy.
It's got a lot of carbonation.
Yeah, so I think they are fermenting more in the bottle then.
Right. So that would lead us to a fermentation issue, not a mash. Because one of the things I was thinking initially, you were talking about your electric Herm system and the control of the temperatures and things like that. But interestingly enough, we use RTDs on our fermenters at Heretic, and one day Chris was like, "Hey, why is this tank reading? We're knocking out. We use multiple temperature readings, and we're knocking out at one temperature, and the fermenter's reading a different temperature. Is which one do you trust? Which one seems correct to you?" And I'm like, well, it seems, I put my cheek against this. I'm like, well, it seems like that temperature, and really what it was is, after a bit of messing around, it was just, disconnecting the connection on the RTD and reconnecting it, and then there it was fixed, so it was maybe just a slight bit of oxidation or some resistance in that, connection, and then it was reading correct again. So, I mean, that's always a possibility. The other possibility, if somebody's experiencing this, is, where are you reading that mash temperature from? A lot of times people have one probe, and, based on how they've set up their flow, like, initially their flow, in recirculating was going into one part of the mash tun, and it was reading correctly across their probe. And then, they changed some pieces of their setup, and then the flow's going a little bit over here. And now all of a sudden, it's somehow bypassing that, and their temperature is actually quite a bit higher in their mash than it was before. And it's like, well, what happened to my beers? So that's something for people to keep an eye on too. When you're experiencing a problem like this, I would get a long probe dial thermometer, calibrate it, and then use that to probe various parts of your mash and see what kind of temperatures you're getting in various spots around the mash, because it's going to be different all around. And, you're looking for the average, but, also, check right at your probe and see what you're getting there. So that's always, especially on the homebrew scale, that's always a little bit off. But I wouldn't think that that's the issue here. with more carbonation in these than we're anticipating.
So you think I'm just not giving them a chance to finish out before I keg?
I'll tell you what. First off, are you an AHA member?
I should be. I'm a member of my local beer club.
Right. Get out of here, Eddie. You just lie, baby. You lie on the radio.
Right.
Absolutely, Jamil. Right, radio.
Lifetime member number
I'm
003.
Not to be, and I'd recommend anyone listening join up so they don't have to go through what I'm suffering through right now.
Thank you.
That's right. No, the AHA, it's a great organization, American Homebrewers Association. You sign up and you get the Zymergy magazine, you get the AHA conference, the ability to sign up for the AHA conference. You get the pub discount program. We offer pub discount program in Heretic, as a matter of fact. You offer one here at the Hop Grenade, Scott?
I believe we are in the process
of radio.
Yes, right you are, Jamil. The problem is the public might call me out on it.
Right. Well, you could offer it even though it's
step
not.
Step up.
There you go. And it's a great bunch of people looking out for the interests of homebrewers all over the place. So if you get a chance, support them. Go to thebrewingnetwork.com, sign up for the Homebrewers Association there. If you do, and you do it through the link on the Brewing Network site, a little slice goes back to the Brewing Network, helps support the programming, and you get the great association membership as well. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. When we come back, I will tell Eddie what I think the problem could be. Back after this.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and Brewin' brother Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
Downtown Joe's, where everyone is welcome, especially if you like drinking and tasting beer. Head brewer Colin Kaminsky's favorite beers are the Tantric IPA and the Double Secret Probation IPA. But you'll have loads of others to choose from when you redeem your exclusive Brewing Network savings. Downtown Joe's is the best brewery destination and the hottest night spot in Napa. Colin invites all homebrewers and fans of craft beer to stop by and enjoy the great food and beer. Whether you're in the mood for riverside dining, live music, or just hanging out at the bar to meet a person of the opposite sex or a person of the same sex, Downtown Joe's has exactly what you're looking for. And now just mention the Brewing Network to receive $1 off your beer at Downtown Joe's. That's right, take $1 off every one of their great selection of craft beers, including the Lazy Summer Wheat, Golden Thistle Porter, and the Triple Dog Dare You. Come to Downtown Joe's and enjoy the laid-back atmosphere of Napa's best brew pub. Visit downtownjoes.com right now for current beers, the live music schedule, or to drool over their delicious menu items. Downtown Joe's, your neighborhood brew pub where everyone is welcome.
The 21st Amendment. Watch out! Do you like beer? They make beer. Watch out! Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun. Watch out! Do you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can. Featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck a
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wort aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
Woo!
Woo! I was just trying to think of the old Johnny Carson skit, where he holds the envelope up beside his head and
Karnak.
The Great Karnak. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna do the Great Karnak for us on these beers for Eddie?
Can't wait.
All right. So a couple other things. One question here from the studio. Are you counter pressure filling your bottles?
No, I'm not.
I was wrong. I said,
wow.
Eddie. I said Eddie would. Eddie's doing all the right stuff. He's invested in his equipment. He'll counter pressure fill his bottles, but you did not.
Now I'm capping on foam.
Yeah, please.
Look at this. Jamil had your back, Eddie, and you stabbed him right in the throat.
Damn. Shivved by Eddie in the studio.
Sick. It's a sick world.
So you're just like slapping you're just running it down the bottle or put a piece of tubing on there?
Well, growlers, I use tubing here. I lower the pressure. I purge most of the pressure out of the keg and run it down the side of the bottle and give it a couple of taps to bring some foam up, and I cap it right away.
New bottles?
Please. Everybody's like, Tasty doesn't bother. Yeah, Tasty would have won some awards if he bothered to frickin' bottle his beer correctly instead of just half-assing it into the bottle with a piece of tubing.
It seems like a weird point in the process to half-ass it.
Right,
you go all out, all the way, and then you screw up at the end.
Working your ass off, investing in all this stuff. And then you just I'll just shoot this shit into the thing and cap it.
Like if you built a world-class race car and then you put horrible tires on there. Like what was the point of all that?
Right. Or you just pee in the gas tank. It's like, hey, here you go. That's got to be enough octane. Oh, come on, Eddie. Well, okay, so here's a possibility is that the APA is showing oxidation. And one of the possible suggestions was that you're introducing more oxygen to these beers as you're bottling them, and that may have assisted in kicking off more fermentation once the bottles were shipped. We are quite certain that the beers are now properly attenuated, and that they attenuated the rest of the way in the bottle, because they are very carbonated, and the Flanders is not. And the Flanders, is fully attenuated.
Definitely not.
Right. The other thing I would suggest is you should be doing a forced ferment test on all your beers until you figure this out. So, on brew day, take a Nalgene bottle with, you can do it, half full of the same wort. Put enough yeast in there to be more than enough. Keep that thing warm from day one. Shake it, and keep it warm. And in a couple of days, it should fully ferment out. And then check your attenuation on that, and that's the maximum attenuation you get. And if that shows a certain number, and you're not coming within a couple of points of that, then you've got a problem. And but if you come within a couple of points, or you reach that, then that's your the fermentability of the wort that you had. So that's one thing that'll help. And then we're thinking, that this has got to be related to your repitching process, which is essentially what you were saying earlier.
So what part of that do you think I should change up?
All right, so you're fermenting these beers out, and you're letting them, they sit 10 to 12 days total?
That's right.
Or do they reach 14 before you harvest the yeast?
Most of the time, it's going to be between 10 to 12 days.
Okay,
and then with the way my work schedule works out,
right.
That's where my off days fall. That's the only days I have time to brew.
And then when you and they're reaching 70 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And then what you're doing is you're racking the beer off. Is the beer clear at that point?
Usually it clears up more in the keg, but I could see my hand on the other side of the carboy normally. Provided it's not a stout or something.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the yeast has dropped.
I think, yeah.
There's still, a substantial amount of yeast at that point.
Sure, yeah.
And you're saying it tends to get worse as you... it tends to get worse.
The more times I use the yeast, the more times I repitch.
Okay.
It seems that my attenuation numbers keep getting lower and lower.
Right.
Or my finishing gravity's higher and higher.
And this is across a variety of yeast. Now, on the brown, what yeast is that?
That's an 007.
Interesting. That one's phenolic. We're getting some Belgian characters in there. Though I wouldn't expect that from the 007.
Well, how long, Eddie, when you harvest the yeast, what do you do with it?
I
rubs it all over himself.
I'm sorry?
Yes, you are.
we were about to segue into adamandeve.com there. Go ahead.
Right.
Well, don't let me stop you. But as far as the yeast go, I put them in a half-gallon carboy, not half-gallon, growler rather, and I set it on top of my kegerator because it's a nice constant cold. That's one of the reasons I keep my kegerator as cold as I do.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't stay there for more than 2 weeks before it's used again.
Okay, and then do you do any kind of starter before you pitch it to the next batch?
When the yeast is new, I do. But after I figure I've got enough going in there that no, I don't do a starter on subsequent batches.
All right. Well, I think we can solve this with a couple of changes to your process. And I think what I do think that actually you're making some very nice beer. I think that
Thank you.
You're actually quite a champ to allow us to pick apart your beers here on the show and to send them all in and do all this with us. So I'm quite fond of Eddie and his willingness to put himself through this torture here.
Yeah, and Eddie, this stout especially is a strong beer. All of us are saying we could drink a pint of it, no problem.
Yeah,
and we thought the others, overcarbonated. The APA I thought was showing oxidation. The brown is showing some phenols. The stout we all really liked. And I'll tell you, if you like your women's stout like you like your beers, Scott.
Jamil, I do.
then you might want to check out Adam and Eve, our fine sponsor. They have all sorts of categories in their DVDs. And
I wonder if Eddie here. Eddie is he's a regular listener. Can you do the categories, Eddie? At least half as fast as Jamil.
Oh, let's see. We got amateur anal, big boobs or big breast, some stuff I never heard of before, so that's hard for me to come across. But I'll tell you, my personal favorite has got to be the point of view. So
POV, interactive POV.
If they could offer where you could combine the categories, so you could have, like, say, big
you can.
Point of view. I mean, then then they.
Right,
then there's nothing else to want.
Eddie is a man after my own heart here. Absolute big boobs point of view. Good man, Eddie. Yeah, I could hang. You and I could hang, baby.
There you go. That and some stout, and
that's called fetish.
And you're good to go. Yeah. Yes, Scott and Eddie together. That is fetish. Well, I'll tell you. You go for a limited time only. You go over to adamandeve.com. Use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, and what you do is you buy one item. You're going to get that for 50% off. Just about any one item they sell, 50% off, and their pricing is actually quite good to start with. For that one item at 50% off, that's all you're paying for. Then you're going to get free shipping. You're going to get a free extra gift that is so central, I can't mention what it is. And then you're going to get 3 free adult DVDs. And it's not just, bottom of the bin junk that they want to get rid of. You get to choose from categories. You can choose from genres such as anal, amateur, big breast, big butt, bisexual, chunky, co-eds, fetish, gay, interactive, POV, lesbian, MILFs, etc. And all at adamandeve.com. You can even shop from your mobile phone. So check them out. adamandeve.com. One item, 50% off, free shipping, free extra gift, free 3 DVDs. All you got to do is use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, at adamandeve.com. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we will let Eddie know what the adjustments are to his process. And all will be well in Whoville right after this.
In a world where everything has been lost.
What happened to the city? It's in ruins.
Only one man has the ancient knowledge to restore civilization.
I need a drink. Oh no, the liquor store's been ransacked.
You looking for beer, stranger? Boy, all the liquor got drunk up in the first 25 minutes of the apocalypse.
Wait, there's still some bottles over... Oh, no. Those are non-alcoholic beer.
Hey, I reckon you better stick to arrowroot tea and a desperate nomadic existence like the rest of us.
People, I'm a home brewer. I know how to make alcohol.
It can't be done.
Come with me if you want the beer. Okay, I'm gonna need some big plastic buckets.
He is the chosen one. The prophecies say that he's gonna get us wasted.
Someone start heating water. And
from the creators of Northern Brewer, the people who brought you massive selection and superior customer service, comes the Homebrewer.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your homebrew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainashev. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Have you ever dreamed of attending the World Brewing Academy? This year, thanks to Lalamond and Danstar, one lucky brewer will make that dream a reality for free. Lalamond and Danstar invite you to enter the Beer School 2015 contest. One lucky grand prize winner will receive fully paid tuition to the 2015 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth almost $4,000. From now until December 13th, 2014, every Danstar yeast packet you use is your ticket to enter. Visit danstaryeast.com for the details and to print your official entry form. There's no limit on the number of times you can enter, so get brewing with Danstar and get your entries in to the Danstar 2015 Beer School Contest. Whether you want to build your home brewing skills or build a career as a professional brewer, this course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Enter at danstaryeast.com and get the dry yeast advantage with Danstar and Lalamond Premium Brewing Yeast, and enter to win.
The biggest innovation in brewer's yeast in 125 years is here.
Yeast that has never been exposed to the environment.
See it for yourself at NHC in Grand Rapids.
Pure yeast and fermentation.
White Labs.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com.
Coupon code BNARMY.
I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're working with Eddie on his attenuation issue, and I would say we all think we've narrowed it down to the repitching. You know, if you're harvesting your yeast after 10 to 12 days in the beer, and then it sits for another 2 weeks, in
water.
In water, usually, repitching, you want to repitch as soon as possible. I always limited myself generally to about a week. I considered a week the maximum. At Heretic, we won't even wait a week. It's either we repitch it then or we don't repitch it at all. We think that that's part of it. It might also be the selection process where there may be some of the more attenuative yeasts are still in the beer in suspension, and you're harvesting off the less attenuative, more flocculative yeasts, and you're repitching those, and so you're encouraging that behavior from the yeast. You're eliminating the ones that attenuate more. That's the problem with harvesting early. It didn't sound like you were harvesting early from your process, but that might be something to look at.
Yeah, I usually crash it as well. I didn't mention that.
Right. Well, crashing actually helps the yeast as far as their glycogen reserves, but that's usually like right after they're done, kind of building, and then you crash them. You wait a day and then crash them, and it actually can help them build up their reserves. But I think the solution for you is and also are you crashing your beer first and then harvesting, or you're harvesting at fermentation temp and then crashing?
No, I crash it, then I rack it off, and then I add my boiled and cold water and shake it up and let it settle in.
Well, that should be fine. I would continue to do that because that should chase out some of the less attenuative yeast, or the more attenuative yeast. And then on brew day, when I was doing this, I would harvest the yeast with the beer, and I would just store it with the beer. And then on, prior to brew day, I would rinse it with the sterile water, separate out. I'd decant off the little bit of, all the yeast husks, essentially, off the top. It's a little bit of, weird liquid off the top. And then you get the creamy yeast, and I transfer that to another container, and then I leave all the black little bits and dead cells and chunks on the bottom, right? And then from that, I would I'd do it maybe the day before, and then the day of brewing, I would add a bit of wort to that yeast and let that get started up before brew day, and then what you're pitching in is a nice active culture. It's all good yeast. It's all healthy. It's reproducing. It's up in suspension, and then pitching that, and that way you're leaving behind any bad yeast as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it sounds like you may have been pitching tired yeast to the beers, and 2 minutes of oxygen for the 5 gallons is probably more than adequate.
Right. Well, you were saying, and then you said 10 gallons at one point, so I'm not sure if you're doing 2 minutes for 10 or 2 minutes for 5.
I do 10-gallon batches in 6-gallon carboys, so it's 2 minutes per carboy.
All right. I mean, I always did like a minute and a half, and at I can't remember if it was a half liter or a liter per minute, and that always worked fairly well. I mean, you should be able to. I know you don't have a way of measuring it, but you're probably okay. At that rate.
Well, I guess what I was getting at was if you're oxygenating like that, and we're still seem to be getting some under attenuation, coming out of the fermenter going in the carboy, then that supports the tired yeast hypothesis or surmise.
So do also your forced ferment tests, to see where the maximum attenuation is.
Okay.
What do you guys think about having him? He's saying he's kegging all his beers, and they're quite different here out of the bottle. And if he's entering competitions and stuff, it's obviously going to be being tasted by the judges out of the bottle. I wonder if it would behoove him to bottle some of his batches so he can taste it himself in both forms.
Sure. I mean, that could have been one of the things you could do, package them up and, let it sit warm and see. But I think the forced ferment test should tell you that as well. I mean, you could also, just pull a portion off after the beer's, in the kegs, run some off into a container, let it sit warm, shake it up, and that should give you the same kind of result versus bottling, and you could see if it attenuates more. And if you take it out and put it in another container and you warm it up, 85 degrees, and you keep it warm and shake it, and then take another gravity reading. If it's gone down, then it wasn't fully attenuated before, unless there's like bacteria or something.
Right.
Have we helped you at all, Eddie?
You know, I've got some things that I can work on. The forced ferment test is going to tell me if I'm getting to where I should be or not.
Right.
So that'll answer some questions there, and then tweaking my process a little bit. The one thing I'm not sure about with what you discussed about, brew day, taking some wort and adding it to my decanted half-gallon. Well, I'm using Nalgene bottles now. So would I wait till the next day to pitch that because I don't have wort just lying around, or are you just saying to make a starter?
Yeah, essentially make a starter. What I would do, what I've done in the past is I would can wort, so it's sterile, and I have it ready all the time. And then, I'd open it up, pour it in, and then it's, up and running by the time, 12 hours later, it's rocking and rolling. It's good, ready to go.
I considered that. I was wondering, do you know if can you hot water bath can that? Is the pH low enough, or do I need to pressure cook
technically,
it?
No. It has to be pressure cooked because it is it's not a low enough pH product. But, people, they boil it, and then they just pour it into jars and then seal it up that way. Technically... that's not going to kill off spore-forming organisms, like botulism and things like that.
Yeah, that's the one I worry about.
Yeah. I mean, I did too, but the people in Australia are going, no, botulism's not an issue, they're going on and on. I'm like, well, yeah, and they actually had a whole bunch of reasoning as to why it wasn't something to worry about. And I had to agree with the argument. However, I told them, it's like, look, I can't go on the air and tell people, oh, don't worry about botulism, because if somebody dies, then like Scott would be out of home. He'd be in real trouble.
With the odds, you don't need to worry about it, but when you consider the stakes, I don't know that I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Regardless.
Exactly. Yeah, you and I seem very similar in a lot of ways. But, I think, everything else you've described, I think your process seems sound, and you are, looking at the right things. And the only thing I would shame you on is, not taking care of your beer after the fact and just slapping it in bottles.
Well, most of my beer is drank in pints out of the kegerator.
Right.
But,
so do you use dirty glasses when you do that?
I guess that all depends on what your standard is. But
flawless.
They're beer clean. They're beer clean glasses. They're not sterile or sanitary, but they're beer clean.
Like jelly jars, a little bit of peanut butter left in them, something like that.
Don't judge me.
All right. Well, anything further to add, John?
No, I think covered it well.
Guys, I've really enjoyed talking to you, and thanks a bunch for pointing me in the right direction.
Well, and let us know how things go, and thank you very much for going through the expense and the time and the trouble to send us the beers, to send us all the the brew sheets, and to take your time to talk with us. Really appreciate that. And
this was a good show.
And to put yourself on display in front of everybody else as well, because I'm sure people are going, well, hell, I knew that Eddie shouldn't be doing that. I'm sure. But I think
people listen to this show.
Well, no, please. It's just the three of us here.
But you probably helped a lot of people, Eddie. I mean, if you have a question, that means lots of other people do too.
Right. Somebody else is wondering about this, or a few hundred other people are wondering about this as well. So, good show. I think overall an enjoyable way to spend an hour. So, thank you, Eddie. And
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You got it.
We'll catch you later.
And thank you to our fine sponsors. Thank you to Blickman Engineering. Check them out. BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman with two N's. Innovating your brew day. So go to their website. Check them out. If you like to support this show, you like to support the AHA, go to the Brewing Network site, brewingnetwork.com. Find that AHA logo, click on that. You can sign up for a membership, and the Brewing Network gets a small slice. It helps support the program, and you support a great organization. There's also lots of fun things there in the store, too. Hats, hoodies, glassware, books, all sorts of stuff that when you buy that stuff, any profit goes directly to the bottom line of the Brewing Network and actually helps pay for the shows so you don't have to. Other than your internet connection, I guess. But, hey, you need that for porn anyway, so this is really just in between your spanking material. So, there you go. I think another fine show. If you're listening live, stay tuned. We're going to do some live Q&A questions. You can dial in 888-401-BEER. Till then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew strong.